So is Don't Worry Darling actually a train wreck? Let's find out. What's going on, guys? I'm Chris and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be giving you my review of Don't Worry Darling, the movie with tons of drama surrounding it for the production of the movie to just the press in general. It's directed by Olivia Wilde, stars Florence, Pugh, and Harry Styles. And before I give you guys my thoughts on this movie, be sure to hit that like button. Comment down below your thoughts on Don't Worry Darling if you've seen it, your expectations if you have not yet been able to see the movie, and be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any future reviews like this one. So I remember when this movie was announced, I was pretty excited for it just because I love Florence Pugh. She's probably the best actress working today. That's just my 2 cents. And then they cast Harry Styles later on, and I was like, hell, I like the guy's music. Harry Styles slaps. And then obviously the months leading up to its release, there's been so much drama surrounding this movie that I tried to throw that out the window going into it, throw those negative reviews that it got on Rotten Tomatoes out the window. So when I sat down and the movie started, I was pretty engaged just out of the start because I like the feel the movie had, you know, this society that is like fake. It's almost like everything is perfect. There was a lot of suspense out the gate just because of how great the production design was. And then as the movie progressed and the plot unfolded more and more, I kind of felt that we might be on track for another one of those thriller movies that leaves everything too open-ended and there's too much ambiguity and there's not really a clear sense of direction. And that's like one of my biggest pet peeves when it comes to a thriller genre movie, is when it doesn't tie up enough loose ends. I'm fine, again, with leaving little things open up to the imagination. I actually prefer that. But when there's really no sense of what the hell happened, that can be upsetting. And early on in this movie, I was heavily concerned because the direction from Olivia Wilde sort of felt like she was doing an impression of other directors and just throwing these eccentric and weird quick shots in to try and create like a creepy atmosphere to the movie, which sort of worked because it jarred me at times. But I was just questioning what the hell's going on. Is there ever going to be a big picture to this movie? There's like a shift near the third act of this movie that really elevated it, in my opinion. And because of that, I can confidently say I enjoyed the hell out of Don't Worry Darling. I know it's getting bashed right now by online reviews. Part of me thinks that's because it premiered at a film festival and the audience that goes to those is typically not going to enjoy a movie that is more mainstream, especially near the end. Because I feel like this movie becomes more of like this intense thriller that wide audiences can enjoy, and I feel like that's not how the movie was sort of marketed. Maybe this movie was bombed by critics because it is Olivia Wilde and they just wanted to make a statement about the drama. I personally don't understand the overwhelming poor reception for this movie because I really dug this one. I want to start by stating the absolute obvious that you've probably heard multiple times if you've watched any reviews of this movie before clicking on this video. Florence Pugh carries. She is an absolute queen and she gives a damn good performance yet again. But this is nothing new. This isn't surprising. She carries most of the movies that she's in and she's stunning here. Like so much so that any scene she has with any of the other actors, it feels like she's on another playing field. Like everyone else gives solid performances, but Florence Pugh is just on another level of stardom and she really commits to this role, allowing us to get behind her character and really feel for her in the awful situation that she ends up being in over the course of the movie. Like I mentioned, this movie stars Harry Styles and it's like the elephant in the room. Oh my gosh, Harry Styles, this huge pop star, can he actually act? Well, he did have a role in Dunkirk with limited dialogue, so I've seen him in previous work and he was in the post-credit scene of Eternals, but that doesn't really count. This was like his full first test in general audiences to see how he can really act. And I'll say, I thought that he did a lot better than I expected. I mean, there was one scene that was released earlier before the movie was fully released, and everyone was flaming him online saying, this guy stinks. And like out of context, it was definitely sort of a cheesy delivery. But once we get a backstory for this character, and I won't spoil anything, but once certain things are sort of revealed over the course of the movie, it makes sense why certain acting choices were made. That's all I'm gonna say. But I'll say this, he had 2 moments in particular that actually stunned me. I was like, damn, he's really selling me here. There's one moment in a car, that's all I'll say, and another moment where he sort of has a standoff with Florence, and I thought that those were really well-acted scenes. Obviously, no one can really go toe-to-toe with Florence Pugh unless you're Timothée Chalamet. But Harry Styles held his own for quite a while in this movie. And of course, Olivia Wilde has a supporting role in this movie, and she's actually really solid. Again, Chris Pine, Nick Kroll, every supporting member in this movie gives a pretty solid performance, but nothing compares to Florence Pugh. Wouldn't mind if she got some sort of awards recognition for how much she carries the movie. But aside from all this bare bones talk about performances and the production design and the direction, this movie has some pretty deep themes and sort of hidden meanings, if you will. And from my point of view, the movie's definitely saying a lot about toxic masculinity, condemning it in a way, and especially in a society where the women are working and cleaning all day and the men just kind of ride off and we don't really know what's going on because the men are viewed as leaders and they all kind of look up to Chris Pine's character in the Victory Project. And again, a lot of suspense going into this movie, if you can't tell just from based on what I'm saying, but there's a lot of gaslighting. For example, there's one character who starts to freak out and like think that something is up, and then they're like, no, we're just gonna give you these pills and you're gonna be okay. And then, no, you're just crazy, you're losing your mind. Like, it's really unsettling because that is something that I feel like takes place in the world today. In a society where men have had certain roles for a long period of time, it's like a lot of this gaslighting does take place. It's definitely trying to hit home on the message that men and women should have equal roles in society, and it's scary how toxic certain men can be. It's actually terrifying. So there was definitely intrigue created in the first few minutes of this movie, just setting the world up of the Victory Project and wondering what the hell is really going on behind the scenes. And then for about 30 or 40 minutes, I just thought the movie sort of lost a sense of direction. It felt like Olivia Wilde, again, was just trying to insert these weird, eccentric sort of art style filmmaking. It'd be like different collages of images and just really unsettling imagery for no reason, it seemed at the time. But of course, patience is key in most movies, and it all started to make sense as we started up that third act, which to me was a pure adrenaline rush. Like, I was waiting for this movie to get me on the edge of my seat, because I know that they sort of described it as like a Truman Show Matrix hybrid, which 100% rings true if you've seen this movie. And there was a lot of talk about how this movie was going to be a crowd pleaser, and I was really like, I don't think audiences are going to dig this one, but it all made sense by the time it got to that third act, because again, I was on the edge of my seat and truly enthralled by what I was witnessing on screen. I was filled with fear for Florence Pugh's character, but also just fully invested in this world, because I love when mystery starts to unfold, and that third act is a juicy one, people. So throwing all the production and press drama aside, I think Don't Worry Darling is a really solid thriller movie with some deeper themes and a lot to kind of bite into if you want to rewatch this movie. I definitely want to see this movie again. I was thoroughly entertained, and it was pretty thought-provoking at the same time, saying a lot about the current gender roles in society today. I personally don't understand the overwhelming amount of hate this movie got so early on, and I'm really curious to see how general audiences perceive this one, because I dug it, and I've seen some fellow people here in the movie community dig it as well, and I'm like, hoorah! It feels like a win, because I thought the movie was really good and got some undeserved hate out the gate. But again, to each their own. If you hate this movie, let me know in the comments down below. If you love this movie, let me know in the comments down below. But that's pretty much going to wrap up my thoughts here on Don't Worry Darling. Probably going to be one of the more divisive movies of the year, but hey, that's what makes talking about movies so fun. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for future reviews coming very soon. Do you think anyone from this movie will get an Oscar nomination? Florence Pugh, please. Maybe Harry gets his first nomination? We'll see. Thank you guys again for watching, and until next time, I'll see you guys later.